Now, the Inter-Korean summit will take place tomorrow on Friday. The summit's schedule has finally been released.
President Moon Jae-in and Chairman of the State Affairs Commission Kim Jong Un will meet tomorrow morning on April 27th, 9:30, who will begin their historic first meeting at the military demarcation line of Panmunjom.
North Korea's side will include a 9-member delegation, including Kim Jong Un's sister Kim Yo-jong. Kim Jong Un will cross the military declaration line at 9:30 in the morning, and after the official welcoming ceremony, both countries' delegations will meet at the Peace House. If there is an agreement, it will be announced in the evening, but no time has been determined as yet.
This Inter-Korean summit, above everything else, denuclearization and establishing permanent peace in the Korean Peninsula, this is the focus of this summit. North Korea's nuclear weapons and ICBM has advanced significantly. So at this point in time, reaching an agreement on denuclearization would be given the fact that in early 1990s and 2000 there were previous denuclearization agreements. However, this agreement, if it comes forth, will be quite different compared to these past agreements. That makes this summit that much more difficult. So when the special envoys visited North Korea, we confirmed their commitment to denuclearization. And so the two leaders, how much they can agree to this denuclearization and how they can actually turn this into an official document, that's a very difficult aspect. And even if there is an official agreement on denuclearization, whether there can be a consensus among the two leaders for complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, this cannot be decided by aides like us. So the substantial part, the key part of the summit meeting will be left for the two leaders who will be meeting tomorrow.
And to bring us more details on this news story, I'm joined in by our foreign correspondent Ramesh Ramachandran, who's joining us live from Seoul. Let's quickly go across to Ramesh. Ramesh, what are the preparations now that we saw the press briefing by the President's office in South Korea? What can we expect now finally from the summit?
Indeed, good morning, Akanksha. The stage is literally set for the much anticipated meeting between Kim Jong Un of North Korea and Moon Jae-in of South Korea. This will be the third Inter-Korean summit to be held on Friday. The first two summits were held in the year 2000 and 2007, both in Pyongyang. So this will be the first time any North Korean leader will literally physically cross the military demarcation line to set foot on South Korean soil. Now, we're given to understand that Kim Jong Un will be accompanied by his sister Kim Yo-jong. There was a lot of speculation here in Seoul. Will his wife or his sister accompany him? Initially, the report suggested that his wife will accompany him. Now we're given to understand officially that his sister Kim Yo-jong will accompany him tomorrow for the third Inter-Korean summit. And just to take you through the agenda, the program of the summit itself, Kim Jong Un will literally get off and cross the military demarcation line on foot, enter South Korean soil. He'll first enter the joint security area, which is administered by the United Nations, and he'll walk past those blue huts and enter what is known as technically South Korean soil, and he will walk towards the Peace House, where the summit will actually take place between Kim Jong Un and Moon Jae-in. Now, the Peace House is the venue of the signing of the 53 Armistice Agreement. Therefore, it has a significant historical significance. And the meeting itself will take place inside one of those rooms. There'll be an oval-shaped table with seven chairs each on either side of the table, and two specially designated chairs for Kim Jong-un and Moon Jae-in, which will have a design of the Korean Peninsula design on the back of those chairs. And the table itself is interesting because at the center of the table, the oval-shaped table, it'll be 2018 millimeters wide, signifying or symbolizing the year 2018 for the Inter-Korean summit. So this is the agenda and the program of the summit. Talking about the issues that will be discussed, clearly from South Korean side, denuclearization will be high on the agenda. They want North Korea to commit itself to eliminating verifiably and irreversibly all its nuclear weapons program. North Korea has not committed itself to this demand so far. The other issue is ending the 65-year-old war with a new peace treaty. And third, but not last the least, is the issue of inter-Korean relations, especially unifying the two Koreas, reducing the number of military guard posts on the demilitarized zone, separating the two countries, reducing the number of loudspeakers used for propaganda for both sides, and also reuniting the families divided by the 1953 war. So these are the issues that will be on the agenda of the third Inter-Korean Summit here in South Korea on Friday.
Right. Ramesh, interestingly, you know, the press briefing coming from the President's office in South Korea hinted that this settlement or the latest agreements that will take place tomorrow will be much more different compared to the agreements in the past, and that has got our hopes soaring high. Also, there are reports that, you know, US-South Korean presidents will also are likely to meet before Trump and Kim Jong Un's summit actually takes place. What is the buzz like about this report in South Korea?
Right. Thank you for the question, Akanksha. Just to give our viewers a perspective, a sense of where the talks are coming from. As I mentioned before, two summits have taken place, two inter-Korean summits, the first in the year 2000 and the second in 2007. On both those occasions, both sides met in Pyongyang, capital of North Korea, and the issues discussed were essentially inter-Korean relations and in particular unification of the two Koreas. But this year's summit is different because, as you correctly mentioned, Akanksha, denuclearization is high on the agenda of South Korea, and they expect to hear from North Korean side, especially Kim Jong Un, on what he has planned for North Korea and the Korean Peninsula at large on the issue of nuclear weapons. Now, North Korea says nuclear weapons are an insurance policy for North Korea, and it will not voluntarily abdicate or give up on its nuclear weapons just yet. At the same time, there is speculation that if the US gives some kind of security guarantee to ensure that Kim Jong Un can continue in power for a long, long time to come, then in that case, Kim Jong Un may be tempted to make some sort of commitment or announcement. But that said, South Korea also equally is under the American nuclear umbrella. So there is an asymmetry, a mismatch here of expectations and demand from each other's side. The other issue is of, as you mentioned, the Trump-Kim meeting, which will take place early June or maybe late May. The location is still being decided and the dates are still being worked out. But before that summit takes place between Donald Trump and Kim Jong Un, we're given to understand that Moon Jae-in will first have a conversation with Trump soon after the Inter-Korean Summit ends on Friday evening. And then before Trump meets Kim at an undisclosed location, Moon Jae-in will travel to Washington for another round of talks with Trump in Washington and exchange ideas on the way forward. Because remember, the Korean crisis cannot be resolved without the agreement between North Korea, South Korea and the US. So a three-way talks is mandatory, essential for any resolution of the Korean crisis.
Absolutely agree with you that a three-way handshake between US, South Korea and North Korea is needed for these talks to actually materialize or culminate into something more productive. I'm going to have to request you to pause over there. Ramesh, we'll come back to you. For now, with 1 day to go for the Inter-Korean Summit, our senior correspondent Ramesh Ramachandran, who is in South Korea, Seoul right now, is decoding what these talks mean for different countries. Let's listen into what he has to say.
This is obviously a very interesting time for the Korean Peninsula, but it's also an interesting time for India-Korea relations, primarily because the visit of Prime Minister Modi in May 2015 really helped us turbocharge the relationship again. This is a relationship that has had a lot of potential, but it has consistently been a case of, mistimed approaches. We've been looking at Korea at times when they've been preoccupied with other things and vice versa. But this time, I think, thanks to the Prime Minister's strong push on recognizing the importance of making Korea a more important partner for us across all specters, economic, commercial, defense, even political and strategic.
I think the jury is still out on how he perceives the world around him, what he perceives the United States, China, others. And I think the jury's still out in terms of how smart he is diplomatically. In other words, there have been moments, 2015, I would argue, with the aborted Moscow summit, other episodes where he did not take the Park Geun-hye government up on potential negotiations, did not take President Barack Obama up on his offers, where he's probably missed opportunities to divide a pretty serious coalition that's aligned against him.
All right, going back to Ramesh Ramachandran, who's joining us live from Seoul. Ramesh, we just heard the US and Indian envoys. They both focused on how, the timing of these approaches has not been right. And now it seems to be just the right timing. Do you actually agree that, the timing is absolutely right now? After so many years, we finally are going to have the US president, meeting a North Korea counterpart.
Indeed, there's been many missed opportunities, so to speak, between 2000 and now, when there have been at least 2 inter-Korean summits, and many opportunities missed by Kim Jong Un himself, especially during the presidency of Barack Obama in the US, and also the former South Korean President Park Geun-hye, when she had a failed, abortive Moscow summit. So they've been put behind them for now, and the focus is on looking ahead to Friday's inter-Korean summit. But that's just to take you through what India's expectations will be from this summit, Akanksha. India says India is against proliferation of nuclear weapons, number one. Number two, at the same time, India does not want or like the use of force to settle or resolve such issues, especially in the light of North Korea, which claims to have nuclear weapons. So clearly, India is walking a very thin line here. Remember, India is one of those few countries which has embassies both in Pyongyang and in Seoul. And therefore, to that extent, India can remain involved in the Korean affairs for many more years and months going ahead. That said, South Korea insists that denuclearization will be high on the agenda. They want an express commitment from Kim Jong Un that he will dismantle all his nuclear weapons irreversibly, completely and verifiably. A similar demand made by Trump of the US, but whether he will go ahead and announce it is another matter altogether. So clearly, expectations are high in Seoul, in South Korea, ahead of Friday's summit. It remains to be seen what the outcome from that inter-Korean summit will be. Also, the much anticipated meeting between Donald Trump and Kim Jong Un in late May or early June. So, as the American saying goes, there are too many moving parts of the story. So we have to wait and watch for the outcome from these 2 key summits. One, the inter-Korean summit on Friday in Pyongyang, in the demilitarized zone in South Korea, and the other big summit between Donald Trump and Kim Jong Un going forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ramesh, for bringing us all those details live from Seoul. And clearly, the inter-Korean summit is going to be something to watch out for.